Good morning and hello. Welcome to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me as we are going into July. I am so excited. I know I say that every month, but that's because every month we get to have a new slew of books based off of that little sheet that I have and I check off. And as always, I like to challenge myself. Doesn't mean I always get to all of the 20 plus books, but I try. And then I give you that review at the end of the month so you know what you may like or may not like depending on if your tastes run with mine or not. And this month will be no different. But in fact, I'm adding something that's not even on the spreadsheet at the very end. So make sure you're paying attention for that. Well, without further ado, let's start the rolls. Yay, July. So excited. The theme is going to be war, politics, all the things, that have to do with, pride in your country or, celebratory. And I may even go off the deep end a little bit if I need to for red, white, and blue. As always, I've got 3 cats. They run amok. I apologize for any crazy sounds and knocking over and bumping tables that happen. That is what it is to have cats in your family. So let's go ahead and roll to see how many prompts we're going to get this month. Oh no. Oh no, 6. That's going to be a bit of a crazy month apparently. Okay, let's see how this goes. All right, we have a coffee cup. And right off the bat, of course, see if I can get this to focus. The coffee cup says that it is a standalone fantasy, which will be nice. And we already have a coffee break. Wah, wah. Of course, there's a bunch. Of course, we're going to have a lot of books on there because I'm adding something to the list. Let's definitely tack on some more books. But that's okay because like I said, I like a challenge. For this one, the first prompt, we got a standalone fantasy. I decided to do one that was a book that I had picked up at the library's book sale a while ago, have yet to get to it, and is also a self-published author. You know I like to promote those. So I chose The Lost Queen by Lind Leatherwood. And from what I'm understanding on the back cover, this is going to follow Jonathan Fletcher. Never wanted to leave his village, was not somebody that was seeking out war. However, because a war is happening, the king is forcing young men to join the army for him. So Jonathan flees with his best friend and his younger brother to his estranged uncle's house. Unfortunately, the war follows him. So whether he really wants to do it or not, it seems like it's going to drag him in. And all month long, since it's July, of course, I'm leaning towards the politics and war, and this just really fits the bill. All right, and for our coffee break, here's hoping we get some caffeine and it's nice to me. Fingers crossed. It says, oh no, decaf. I have to add a book to my TBR stack that one of you recommends. So everybody put your recommendations below and please try to fit the theme for the month if you can, and I will pick from that. So for the coffee break, I get to read a book you all recommend. So start putting down below your recommendations, and please, if at all possible, let it fit that kind of war politics vibe I'm going for. If not, then one that you recommend that's red, white, or blue primarily on the cover would also work for this month. And I will pick from there, but I'm excited to see what options there are, and I can't wait. All right, roll number 2 is a peppermint. And that looks like, if it'll focus, a new to you author. Ooh, I like these. So our second roll got us a new to you author, which I also love this prompt, and that's why I have it, because I'm always looking for new authors and then I can go for their backlist. So for this one, I chose Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I've heard fabulous things about this whole series, so I'm really excited to get started in the first one. We're going to be following Jane McKean, who was born 2 days before the dead start walking Gettysburg, kind of throwing the Civil War kind of off kilter with the dead. And so I'm betting we're going to have Jane getting trained, and I'm betting we're going to see her do a whole lot of fighting of the dead. I don't know. Sounds kind of cool to me, and I can't wait. All right, roll number 3 is a roll again. So I choose a book. This is all about the books anyway. And it says a short read, 300 or less pages. Bless you. Our third roll got us a short read, which is perfect because I have been dying to get back into Solo Leveling, and so I am with Solo Leveling 7 by Chugong. I apologize if I butcher names. We're continuing to follow Jinwoo Sung, I believe. Jinwoo Sung, and I'm excited. I don't want to give anything away. You know I'm a spoiler-free channel always, but we're obviously going to be picking up after the incredible thing that happened at the end of Volume 6, and I am excited for that, and it's, you know, less than 300 pages and is a graphic novel, so I consider that a short read. Roll number 4. Ooh, a cookie. I like that. And the cookie says, a Katie pick. Aww. Our fourth roll was a Katie pick. I loved this. I set out a bunch of books. She didn't want to be on camera, and that's okay. But I set out several books. She chose from those City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. The only time I've read from this author was The Tainted Cup, and it was okay. It was kind of a, I'm blanking. Of course I'm blanking. What is his name? The detective, super smart. I'm totally blanking. Watson, Holmes and Watson-esque. So anyway, highly recommend. It was a decent read, but it was kind of strange because it threw some monsters in there too, like kaiju. It was just really interesting. But I did love the Holmes character. She was hysterical. But anyway, going back to this book, of course, City of Stairs, apparently once upon a time in this city, they had the power that would like rival gods, right? But then their benefactors who allowed this magic and power into their city were all killed off somehow. And so now fast forward, the city has been subjugated, it's been censored, the history's been erased. You have Shara, who is a type of assassin, and she's investigating a murder that's taken place in the city and starts to uncover some deep secrets and conspiracies and things that are happening. So I'm excited to see what all that's going to be about. Definitely sounds political to me. Roll number 5 is a coffee cup. And it says, if I can get it to focus, there we go. Translated work. Ooh. Roll number 5 gave us translated work. So for this, I'm going to do one that looks very familiar. Solo Leveling, Volume 8 by Chugong. Obviously, I won't read this until I finish Volume 7, but I want to do it. It's, again, going to be a nice, fast, easy read, which is great when there's tons of books being piled on here. But also, I'm just excited. I want to get caught up. I want to see what's happening next with all the level ups that are happening and other things that I don't want to spoil. So I'm excited to get into Volume 8 for sure. And our last roll, roll number 6. Is another coffee cup. Let's end with all the caffeine we're going to need. And it says to continue a series. Oh, thank goodness, because let's face it, I've got a bunch. And our last roll told us that we needed to continue a series, which is perfect because, of course, I'm always trying to get caught up on all these series. So for this one, I chose A Shadow Crown by Melissa Blair. This is the second book in the series. It's the Halfling series. I had to read that. It's been a hot minute since I read the first one, which came in a book box a couple years ago. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a wonderful time. The character is very deep and actually struggles with alcoholism. The character's name is actually Kira, and she is the king's blade. She's an assassin. She's kind of attracted to somebody she shouldn't be. And again, there's a lot of politics, a lot of war involved. I really can't wait to see what's happening next. I actually had to go back and reread one of my reviews on the first book because it's been so long. So now I think I'm caught up enough that I'm ready to jump back in, and I'm excited. And now we have the Apothecary Jar. So here's hoping that it's a good one. And wouldn't it be fun if it fit our theme? But even if it doesn't, it's in here because I needs to read it. And for this month, it looks like it is The Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. Ooh, that's what I need to start a new series. So the Apothecary Jar is having me read The Vampire Academy for the first time by Rochelle Mead. This is new. I know that there's a TV series. I've not actually watched that either, and this is kind of going to be interesting. From what I understand, we're going to be following Lisa, who is what is called a Morai princess, which means she is mortal, but also a vampire and has magic of earth elemental tones to it. She also has a bodyguard named Rose, who is a damper, so kind of part vampire thing. And from what I understand, has to be protected all the time from the Strigoi, who are the vampires that are the most vicious and can't die. And they actually get enrolled into Vladimir's Academy. So there's going to be some academic setting too, which I do love me a good academic setting. Talking about the Strigoi, though, actually makes me think of a TV show on Hulu my husband and I have been watching lately, which is called Strain. I'm going to make sure to have a picture up here. Feel free to check it out. Not for children. There's a little bit of too much going on in there, including nudity, so not for children. But it's interesting. It has moments where you really just have to suspend disbelief and just kind of go with it. But then it's got moments that pull you in. And they talk about the Strigoi as well. So I'm wondering, do you think it may be kind of related? And now I get to pick two from the Advent Jar. I'm so excited. There's some really good ones in here. Let's see, what's the first one? Looks like, ooh, I'm so excited for this one. Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. Yes, it's going to be scary, but it's going to be good. Oh, I'm excited. And, Eruption by Michael Crichton and James Patterson. Oh, that's fantastic. These were just last month's, but I have been so excited to get to these. Yay! I just love the Advent Jar. I know I say that all the time, but I do. I really, really love this jar. I love getting to these books that I recommend to you all every month because I think they just sound amazing. Or they're continuing series that I have been dying to continue. So going in that vein, not too long ago, I recommended In the Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. So I'm excited to get to this. This is going to be kind of a thriller, kind of scary, but I can't wait. We're following Ethan and Billy, who were 10 years old, just having a good old time camping in the backyard. Ethan wakes up the next morning, there's a rip in the tent, and Billy's gone, and no one can find him. Fast forward 30 years into the future, Ethan has moved away, gone on with his life, but has to come back to his home and hometown, even though he really, really doesn't want to. Once he's back inside the house, he starts having insomnia, he starts having nightmares, and when he's up, in the middle of the night, he starts seeing some strange things. This could be interesting. The second one that we drew was Eruption by Michael Crichton and James Patterson. This is the one I was telling you about, that they say basically before Michael Crichton died, he'd been working on this book. He had the manuscript almost finished, sitting on his desk kind of a thing. His widow picked it up and went looking for somebody to co-author because obviously we lost Michael Crichton. James Patterson was the one that she reached out to and said, yes, I would love to co-write that and get that out. And that's what we have now. Obviously with the title Eruption, you know it's going to have to do with a volcano, but apparently there is some politics involved because apparently this isn't just a volcano erupting and the worst one ever in human history. It's also the military screwed something up. So having been in the Army 8 years myself, I can't wait to read this. Now for the beautiful book from our book boxes pick. All right. Ooh. Let's see what it says. It says Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Wisecup. And I believe that's one that I've had the longest too. So that's a good thing. So to make sure I get through those beautiful book editions that I get inside book boxes, I have this jar. And this time I finally drew one that is the oldest one I've had on my shelves. I think now at least 2 years, but it's also a chunker. So fingers crossed I get to it. But anyway, for this month we have Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Wisecup. I don't know much about it. Again, it is a beautiful edition I got back when I did Bookish Box. Signed, beautiful end pages, absolutely wonderful. All I know is there's kind of a, I think, enemies to lovers trope going on, which is right up my alley. And yeah, we'll just have to see from there. I'll let you know at the end of the month with my review how it went. And if it's not a 5-star, as always, these beautiful books get to go to you guys when we do our drawings. The next drawing will be when we hit 700 subscribers, so make sure you stick around. All right, now it's time for the Bookopoly Roll. And if you'll remember last time I ended up in jail, I had to unhaul a book, and somebody was actually really worried about that and was trying to say, no, don't unhaul a book that you've not read. You know, unhaul a book you have read. And I think they didn't realize. So I'm going to clarify. The only books I keep on my shelves, which those of you who've been here for a long time, you already know this, but for those who are new, the only books I keep on my shelves are ones I have not read yet or they're a 5-star read. So anytime you see my books in the background whenever I'm doing videos, those are all 5 stars. And that means I would reread them. So I only had the choice then to unhaul a book I've not read and gotten to, or unhaul a book that I thought was incredible and got a beautiful edition and 5 stars. So guess which way I'm gonna go every time. So, but have no fear, because I still have a list of all these books and want to get to them. It will come up at some point, but I've been putting them off, so get rid of them, I say. Make more shelf space. All right, and we ended up getting a 6 and a 5, which gives us 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all I'm going to say is 10. And then 11, which means I have passed Go, which is the library square, and I'm now on the smallest book. Oh, I'm excited. With it being so many that I have to read this month, small books are the way to go. Bookopoly is always so much fun to play. I did pass Go. That's all I'm saying. You either know or you don't know, and you should have been watching all along. But go is all I'm saying. But I did land on smallest book. So the smallest book on my shelf at this point now is White Cat by Holly Black. I'm excited. See, it's little. I'm excited to get to this one. We're going to be following Castle, who is the son of a family that deals in curses. Now, this is very illegal, so of course they're usually gangsters, mobsters, you know, con artists, things like that, except Castle, who's got a heart of gold and also doesn't have any magic. So he's kind of trying to survive in this world. Unfortunately, he has these terrible dreams where a white cat shows up trying to tell him something and also to warn him about something. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm kind of excited, and I enjoy Holly Black, so we'll see. The number generator is wonderful because I need to get through my ever-growing list of books I want to get to, right? Well, this time we ended up landing on Mistborn. I am so excited. I love Brandon Sanderson's work. You all know that from the Stormlight Archive series. I didn't want to actually get into Mistborn until I had finished the Stormlight Archive, but that's okay, because several of my book friends out there have already started or finished Mistborn now. I am excited to join them. It's a bit of a thicker one, should be interesting, but basically 1,000 years ago, a hero rose to save the day and failed. And so because of that, the world was thrown into chaos and bad things were just happening all over the place. Well, a young heroine is now rising up. Can she be what was needed to finally save the day? So I'm excited. I'm continuing to read in those Star Wars books. That way I can hopefully get caught up at some point. I don't know if I'll ever fully match how fast they just keep churning them out. But next on the list is The Eye of Darkness by George Mann. This continues to follow the aftermath of what happened in previous books. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything. If you know, you know. And we're still dealing with the Nihil. I hate the Nihil so bad. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. I'm also continuing reading the Tamora Pierce world because it has taken over from when we did the Robin Hobb series, and I'm enjoying it. These are short, quick, easy reads, and they're so fun. And Elena is such a character that I enjoy following and chuckling and shaking my head at some of the decisions that she makes, but it's wonderful. So I'm continuing this series with the book, The Woman Who Rides Like a Man. And in this, Alana's continuing her quest and love of adventure, but she falls into the desert and some fierce desert dwellers capture her, and now she has to have a duel to the death. So, Elena. Now, I'm also involved in several book clubs, of course, and so we're going to start with my own, the ABC Book Club. You're welcome to join us on Instagram or Discord. As always, links will be below. For this month, for July, everybody voted and went with Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I think this is going to be absolutely hysterical. From what I hear, this is just a rip-roaring good time from start to finish. I can't wait to discuss this with everybody as we go. Then, of course, I'm also in Liv from Liv's Libraries Book Club. Love her. The book that was chosen was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. Again, I already talked about this one, so it's kind of nice that I get to double dip a little bit this time. That doesn't happen very often. Then I'm also a part of the Backlist Book Club with Cassidy. However, she has now put this on hiatus. She said potentially indefinitely. So I thought this would be a great time to kind of confiscate it for myself and use this as a time to do a new wheel, as you see here, and spin it to then find out a backlist on an author that I adore. And so when I spun that wheel, the author that came up was John Gwynne, and the backlist I need to get to is Valor, the sequel to Malice. Another chunky book. I don't know what's wrong with me. I really, truly don't. But I'm excited to finally continue this series because I started it a year and a half ago. So I'm going to have to review to remember what happened at the end of Malice before getting into this bad boy. But I'm excited because this will allow me to now pick up authors that I know I enjoy, possibly also continue series. So all things that will help me in the end, right? So join me. Make your own backlist wheel. I think it's a fabulous idea if I do say so myself. Then I'm also a part of the Indie Archive from Mel's channel. And in this month, we're doing Herald by Rob J. Hayes. This is actually part of his new series. He's doing 3 different series at the same time, and he's doing book 1 release all together. This particular one of Herald, though, is actually from the series Age of the God Eaters. And in this, 1,000 years ago, humanity managed to kill God. Right? Apparently, ever since, demons are now stalking their deep forests. We have some old terrors that are now coming back. So Rhaenyra has enjoyed a peaceful life as a laundry girl, just minding her own business. She has a secret inside her blood. Can't say what it is. But apparently, a person of her mother's past shows up randomly at her village one day and gives a very dire warning that's basically saying she has no choice. She needs to now go and be pulled into this war that's going on, a millennia long war between heaven and earth because of what's in her blood. So I think this is going to be exciting and fabulous. The other one I am a part of course, is the Wyvern Read Along on Cassidy's channel, but they're still doing Age of Legend, which I finished last month, so I don't have to worry about that one. Now, I'm also trying to do NetGalley books, of course. And so for this one, I chose Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. Again, I love Brandon Sanderson. This one feels like it's going to be a little silly as well as kind of sweet. So I'm all aboard on that. We're following Yumi, who comes from a land of meditation and spirits and gardens and everything peaceful. We're also going to be following, of course, Painter, who comes from a land of darkness and nightmares and technology. And the two are going to have to band together to save the world. I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm also trying to complete that Reddit bingo board. And so for the tile that I chose for this month, I'm doing multiple POVs. I think this one for sure deals with the politics and war and for sure has multiple POVs. In fact, we've got 5. If you'll remember, I told you I was so excited to get this for Book of the Month, and that's 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. We're following 5 of the greatest liars in the kingdom being chosen to have to band together to kill King June because he's evil and bad and wrong. It's a bit of a thicker one as well, so I don't know what's with all the thick books this month. Thank goodness there's 31 days in July. Let's hope I can get to most of them, but I am excited. I've seen gorgeous editions at Books & Noble and Books A Million, and so I'm excited because if it's a 5-star, you betcha I'm going to go get me a pretty one. And like I keep saying, I like to support indie authors. Now, this particular indie author has had her duology recently picked up for publication, but I still consider an indie author because most of her work is still self-published. And that is Carissa Broadbent, who's also going to be in a Polycon now. So excited. I chose Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, again by Carissa Broadbent. This is going to be following... Her name is Selena, who has given everything up for her goddess. She gave up being, a street orphan, thankfully, to be trained to be an assassin, and she just basically gives everything to this goddess. However, during her training, apparently a vampire conqueror comes to the land, and now she has a new mission from her goddess, which is to infiltrate, get him to trust her, and then kill him. Of course it is! And aren't those the most fun stories? I am so excited to read this one. Slowly but surely, I am getting caught up on those cards. So I must be reading the right books that I am now reading all the books that are mentioned in these beautiful items that come in book boxes. Hooray for me. I'll find something else to go in this slot if I get fully caught up. Oh, well. So for this particular one, I had items that were based on the Jasad Air by Sara Hashim. And so I am excited to get to this. The cover itself has always intrigued me, and it feels very deserty and political and war and all the good things for this month makes it perfect. So I'm hopefully going to get to this one, and then I can throw away that card up there because I then have read everything on that card. This will be following, the Kingdom of Jasad 10 years ago was burned down. Everybody just killed, magic outlawed, and apparently the royal family was supposedly completely destroyed. It feels very much like the Romanov family, doesn't it? Because there was a survivor, kind of like Anastasia, and that's Sylvia. But Sylvia doesn't want anybody to know that she survived because, of course, they'll be out to get her. So she tries to keep it a secret. However, somebody does figure out the secret and is trying to make it come to light. And so there's a little bit of a hate relationship there, but then feelings start happening because feelings do. But there's also a war brewing and oh my gosh, again, the politics. So perfect for this month. And I'm excited to finally get to it. And as I said previously, I'm of course trying to continue those series because I need to wrap these up. There's too many new ones that come in book boxes. Too many good things. I can't keep up. So for this one, I chose The Crimson Fortress by Akshaya Raman. I apologize. I'm excited because this is the sequel to The Ivory Key. I adored that book. I thought it was so good. Not a keeper for my shelves, but I really had a good time following those siblings. And in this one, we're going to continue right off of where The Ivory Key left off. I don't want to give anything away. We're still following the siblings. They're still trying to restore magic and still trying to get stability for their kingdom. So I can't wait. All right, time for the Trivial Pursuit that stumps me every time, and Stevie's here to help. Stevie, seriously, buddy, seriously. All right, here we go. And we got a 6. Ooh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, I can roll again. You know, I'd really like a pie. I'm just throwing that out there. Universe. A 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ugh, so close. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 puts me on the pink just outside of a pie. And we'll pick one from just in the middle here. And the pink says, what 1966 novel by Larry McMurtry inspired one of his high school classmates to pen a memoir entitled Whatever Happened to J.C. Farrow? Stevie, stop with the bag. Interesting, 1966 novel. I doubt I have actually read whatever inspired that, so let's just see what it is. The Last Picture Show. Ah, Trivial Pursuit, you're so hard. But that's okay. That's the whole point, is to broaden my horizons. And I did get one right this year. If I can get one right a year, I'll feel like I'm doing all right. So I will now be adding to my TBR, The Last Picture Show by Larry McMurtry. This is going to follow a small, dusty Texas town and some teens. Feels like kind of a coming of age story, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't look like it's going to be too long. All right, so excitingly, Shrink the Shelf was fully funded. Woo! So we have to wait till October, though, for them to come out, which means November would probably be the earliest that I would be able to actually play it here for you all, but I can't wait. So as always, I'm going to use these cards and use the prompts on them to actually pick my reads. Since there are so many reads happening this month, I think I'm actually going to go with just one this time instead of 2. So I'm just going to pick one card. So, woo! So here we go. This one looks kind of cute. A book featuring your favorite trope. Well, okay. And like I had told you last month, Shrink the Shelf will be coming out in October. So I'm so excited to set this up and then show you guys how the game goes and start playing it come hopefully the November TBR, if not the December. But before that happens, and in the meantime, I do these cards. And so for this one, I drew my favorite trope, which is enemies to lovers or reluctant allies. I love that trope so much. So I chose to continue a series for this one as well. And I chose Cursed Crowns by Kathy Doyle. This is the sequel to Twin Crowns. I really enjoyed that story. I love the twins' relationship. I love the kind of reluctant ally, enemy to lover thing that was going on in that. Again, I'm not going to give anything away, but this will pick up from what I understand right after the Twin Crowns ended. So I'm excited to see what's happening because there's some big political things that were set up in that first book. Again, to get these books off my shelves to make way for other books, I have for this one, the Read or Unhaul, I chose Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card. Very thick one. I don't know if I'll get to this or not. I got it because it was real cheap at half price. I know Orson Scott Card is really good when it comes to fantasy, but I don't know. The premise of it just seemed kind of weird and convoluted, talking about someone's kind of seeing things but not seeing things, but then the mind drifts and the things they're drifting to suddenly become real. I don't know. It just sounded very convoluted and weird to me. I don't know if I'll get to this or not, but if I don't, then it goes back to half price books. I'll get a little bit of money for it and get a different book on my shelf because this has been on there for forever. Now, of course, the top 3 books I am so excited that are coming out in July. Starting on July 2nd is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This is the sequel to Powerless. We've been waiting for. A lot happened in that first book with the trial, with the aftermath of that trial, and I'm excited that we're going to pick up and finally see what is happening next. On July 30th, The Mirror of Beasts by Alexandra Bracken. This is the sequel to Silver in the Bone, which was one of my book club picks. and I'm excited. It feels very, Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur-esque, but with these kids that are just trying to kind of figure things out. So I'm excited because we left off on a cliffhanger, of course, in the first book. I need to know what happens. The third one is also on July the 30th, and that's Beneath the Cursed Stars by Lexi Ryan. This is a new duology given to us by the woman who wrote These Hollow Vows. Enjoyed that one so much. I get to see this author at ApollyCon as well. It sounds like it's going to be an amazing ApollyCon. Cannot wait! But basically for this one, we are following Princess Jaslyn, who has a secret ring that gives her the kiss of death. Oh, so she, of course, is like a secret assassin as well when she can get away with it. We also have a shapeshifter named Felicity who agrees to pose as the princess whenever an evil king starts to come to power and is trying to take over their realm so that the princess can hopefully assassinate him. This sounds absolutely fabulous. I only do top 3, and those are the only 3 that are going to go in that jar of the Advent jar for myself, but I wanted to give an honorable mention to one because so many of you love the inheritance games out there. Just so you're aware, also on July 30th, the grandest game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is book 5 of the inheritance game, so I wanted to make sure to mention that it is coming out as well. Last but certainly not least, the little thing I'm tagging on at the end here that I kind of hinted at the very beginning of this video, so hope you've been here the whole time. If not, welcome. But basically, I am adding an ApollyCon read because there are so many incredible authors that are going to be there, and I really want to make sure I read some books from these as much as I can possibly squeeze into my TBR. So for this one, I have chosen When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I'm excited about this. The cover looks gorgeous. I've heard so many amazing things about this book. All I know is that when dragons die in this world, they actually go to the sky and become moons. And then the title says When the Moon's Hatch. So are they coming back? Like, I don't know, but I am so excited and I am here for it. And I will let you guys know at the end of the month. And I hope I can get a beautiful copy while I'm at ApollyCon and have it signed. Thank you all for your good thoughts and prayers and wishes and everything, because I did secure that ApollyCon ticket, as did Kim from Whimsical Narratives. We can't wait to finally meet up in person. We, of course, will be filming stuff separately and maybe something together. We'll see. Thank you all for being here. Please like, subscribe, and send your friends, and I will see you next time.